How's everybody doing? Yeah? All right, my name's Art Gillespie, and I run a small iOS development shop. And I work in a co-working space downtown called Spoke 6. And if you haven't been there, you should really check it out. It's a super cool space. And the other members of my team, Sam DeVore, he works for Skid Solutions. Tim Bowen works for creative agency Creative Slice. And Andrew Leonard, who also works for Tap Square. We all work at Spoke 6. And we have a problem. And my problem is I don't have a clicker. That problem solved. The other problem we have is we would like to, we want to collaboratively play music at the office. And our vision of that is everybody in the office can queue up music on the central system that's hooked up to the speakers. So we're really excited. We're really excited to try things like Pandora, Spotify, and Turntable FM, but none of those really met our definition of collaborative. So what we realized what we really wanted in the office was a jukebox. But not like an old-fashioned jukebox. We wanted a jukebox that we can control from our desk so we didn't have to get up and down and cue numbers and type F7. And one thing that struck me is that we have probably a terabyte of music between us. In our iTunes libraries, on our desktops, on our iPhones, on our iPods. And I want something simple because, logins and subscriptions, and I forget passwords like, everybody else. So our solution to this is Earshot Me. And this meets all of our needs. And how does it do that? Well, let's take a typical scenario from a day at Spoke 6. So maybe it's late in the day, and Tim and I are there, and we're working with our headphones, and I'm like, oh man, Tim's gonna love this song. So I select a song from my iPod library on my iPhone, or from my iTunes library on my desktop, and I say, Tim, check this out. I mean, I don't say it, I just send it via Earshot, and he gets a push notification on his phone or on his desktop, and he can play that song right then. And what's interesting is, we don't copy the file over, we just stream it. So that song will be streaming from my device to his device or his computer. But what's really cool is, so it's the end of the day, and maybe we have an event that night, and a bunch of people start showing up. And now they're all sending songs to each other. But then it gets kind of like the party vibe, and this is the cool thing. You designate one device as the Earshot jukebox, and you put that in a cradle, a lot like the one we have here. That's hooked up to speakers, and then everybody with a device or a computer can queue up any song on their device or computer to the jukebox, and it will get played in the order in which it was queued. And of course, not everybody has great taste in music. So what happens is, if you hear a song that you really think is inappropriate for 9 o'clock in the morning in a co-working space, like Lady Gaga, you hit down, and what's interesting about this is we're not thumbing down the track, we're thumbing down the person who queued it. And over time, you see people get taste karma, right? And to lower their taste karma, well, maybe their songs don't show up in order. Maybe they get moved down, and at some point maybe your taste karma is so low, like these poor 3 people over here, that, they can't queue songs up at all. All right, so how are we going to make money? Well, we're going to sell the app in the iTunes store for $2.99. We're going to sell the desktop app in the Mac App Store for $4.99. And we're going to get affiliate kickbacks from Apple, because when people discover music, when I send you a song, you're like, oh my God, who is that? You click on the Buy Now button, it takes you to the iTunes Music Store, we get a cut. And we're initially focusing really tightly on people we know that have the same problem we do. And that's 750 co-working spaces worldwide, and that represents 50,000 co-workers. And the coolest thing about Earshot Me, the coolest thing about this remote...
Go to the next slide.
Next slide, please. I'm dying up here. Well, the coolest thing about Earshot Me is that it works. Oh, that's great. Awesome. The coolest thing about Earshot Me is that it works today. Love the slide guy. So I'm going to start up the Earshot network here on my, the Earshot app on my iPhone. And you see, I show up, but that's not much use. Does anybody have Earshot installed on their mobile device?
I do.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Sam? Hey, why don't you jump up? Oh, there you are. How about sending me a track, man? I'm in the mood for some Dylan, and I don't have any on my iPhone.
Let me see what I got for you. Why don't you plug
quiet so we can hear the speakers.
That song is streaming through Sam's iPhone right now in real time.